In just 6 months, we managed to double our clients' organic traffic and increase the number of top 3 keywords they had by over 150. We did all this without spending a dime on ads, and I'm going to explain a little bit on what we learned and what we did and why. So if you don't know who I am, my name's Josiah Roche, and I've helped my clients generate millions of dollars through organic traffic strategies like SEO. And today I'll walk you through like some of the things that we did for a client who's a local based business in cosmetics. The first step when we work with any client is to get an understanding of their business, of course, all the basics, and then to have a look at their website, where it is now, where it needs to be, all that kind of stuff, all the basics. But basically what most businesses don't have, and I see this time and time again, is they don't have some sort of map. And what I mean by that is some sort of like content map on the back end where it's like a whiteboard. You've got lists down of all the topics you cover and each like page and post on your website that relates to those topics, right? So if you're in cosmetics and you do injectables and laser and all that kind of stuff, normally you would have like those core services, and normally you would have a service page for each one, right? Naturally, and you'll run ads to those pages and different audiences for each one. But what most businesses don't have, is this, and also to understand, what pages do we have on the website? Why do we even have them in the first place? Like, what's the keyword we're trying to go for? And reverse engineer it that way. And so what we did was basically gone in, had a look at their 50 plus pages they had on the site and be like, okay, well, we need to organize this, have an understanding of what's going on. So we create what we call a topical authority map. And this is what we call it. Basically, it's jargon for basically a glorified whiteboard with tasks on it. And each task is a page that you have. And within each task in our content management tool, I use ClickUp. We'd basically have like the focus keyword we're going for with that page so that it doesn't overlap with another page. It's really that simple. And these basics, most businesses don't have. It takes a little bit of time, but once you've got it, at least you've got that peace of mind that you're, not overlapping between other pages. So we start off with this content map, this topical authority map. And we had a look and they were selling like over 12 different things, 12 different main categories of service. And so we're like, okay, well, each one of these is kind of its own topic, right? You can't just like have laser treatment and then within laser treatment, you're talking about dermal fillers. It makes no sense. So you separate these into different topics. And then so within that, each topic, every website on the planet usually has the same kind of like categories of how you speak about that topic. So for laser treatment, you'll have commercial pages. So that's one like subtopic. Commercial pages are like the service pages that you have and where you sell people, to book that next step. Okay, you got those commercial pages, and then you got location pages. So you might have like dermal fillers Sydney, dermal fillers Melbourne. You might have location pages. So that's another subtopic. So you list these down. And then from there, you have like blog articles, like, people in research mode around that topic. So they're looking at what is based articles, like what are dermal fillers? That could be a blog article. Okay, that's a subtopic. What is kind of like keywords? And then you got why type of keywords. Why are dermal fillers bad for you? Like each of these are like their own subcategories. And then you've got like versus type of articles, like comparison articles, and then how-to. How-to is very popular, guides. And so when you map all this on like a whiteboard, you can kind of visualize and see, okay, at the top level, you've got the topic. Just underneath that, you've got the subtopics, like the things you speak about around that main topic. And then you just map underneath each one the kind of pages that you have that relate to that subtopic within that main topic. Okay, so let's say that was the case. So we did this across all their pages. Since they had like less than 50 pages on the website, we're like, okay, let's just do this all in one fell swoop to understand all the pages across their website and which topics they're covering right now and which blogs they have and which commercial pages they have, and then basically from there, we can understand, okay, which pages are overlapping, which pages are like duplicates or double ups, which pages do we need, which pages do not seem to have their own focus keyword. So a lot of pages out there and a lot of business owners, they'll be like, hey, I want a page for this and page for that, but they don't really have some sort of research based on the keyword behind it. Like they might totally guess. And then what the market actually searches on Google for a particular phrase might not be what the business owner created for the page, if that makes sense. So yeah, we started off with that. And since they had quite a lot of topics to cover, we basically mapped all of that out, knowing that we'd only like start off with one topic at a time afterwards. And I'll explain what we did as our step 2 process. Recap, we do a topical authority map. We map out all the pages on our website. we designate a keyword that it doesn't have or whatever. And then you move on to the next thing, which is fixing up all the pages that you have before you go on and create new pages. When you're going to basically have a look at this topical authority map, you've got everything in laser treatment. For example, you've got like 4 blog articles around like how it works or why is it important for you, whatever. And then you've got like 1 commercial page and then maybe 2 location-based pages. One's maybe laser treatment Gold Coast and laser treatment Brisbane, whatever it is. So in theory, you've got 3 pages that are like selling the service and then like 4 pages that are blogs, right? So the next step from there is to fix up all these pages, right? So in the first step, you already like designate keywords for all these ones. Now you got to double check that that page has that keyword multiple times on the page, each page. You fix up the page speed, compress all the images. So when you're compressing images, we use a tool called Tiny PNG. It's a free tool online. And when you're using WordPress, we recommend using WebP files, WEB, then capital P, right? It's a type of file. It's kind of like JPEG or PNG or whatever. But basically, these are for modern browsers, and they speed up. Like, you can totally compress the heck out of an image, and it just makes it load that much faster. So we do that, right? We compress all the images. We go through any of the code on the page to make sure that we get rid of any messy code that doesn't actually need to be there. You might have fancy carousels and shit that people don't give a shit about, and you might and you can capture that basically by using a tool like Microsoft Clarity. That's another free tool where you basically record people, what they're doing on your website, and you can have a look at where they skip sections. You might find that top section with the carousel that you put a lot of thought into and thinking that that's going to make a big difference, actually no one gives a shit about it. And so you can start to replace it with 1 static image instead of a carousel with 4 images on it. That's just the basic one. Okay, so when we're talking about other things, like in the image, there's what's called an alt tag, and it kind of, or alt text, right? ALT, alt text, and basically that describes the image to people who are visually impaired. That they can't see very well and they prefer to listen with any like on-screen narration tools. And so the idea is that you follow Google's guidelines by not injecting the hell out of your keywords into that like description of what the image contains. And I've already got tools for this. I've got ChatGPT scripts that help you write it in a meaningful way that's super helpful to people who are visually impaired, but it also injects the keyword that we designated for this page into those images, all of them. Like, do it, non-negotiable. Every kind of thing that you do should be tastefully done, like these alt tags, in a way that's not spamming the shit out of the keyword throughout the page, because you'll be penalized for that. But you're doing it in a way that also helps people. Let's move on. So we've gone through optimizing the images, optimizing the alt text, what describes the image. You go through readability. Now, readability is like, is the text on your page really difficult to read, or is it easy to read? What's the reading level? You can use a tool like Hemingway. So the Hemingway editor lets you basically see what your reading level is for the words that you have on your page and see if it's too difficult to read. Now, why am I mentioning this? What does it have to do with SEO? That's a good question. So readability doesn't inherently affect search engine rankings, but it affects other factors of user experience. And what do I mean by that? I mean the time that people stay on your page to read your content. If the readability is lower, and there's been so many studies around this, I'm not going to dig into it, but basically, the easier something is to read, the longer people would stay on the page, which, what is that? That's engagement rate. And that's a good metric. And so that basically Google sees that someone's clicked on the link from the Google search results, gone to your website, they've stayed on it for at least 2 minutes or something, and oh, well, people seem to value this. They're staying on for 2 minutes. Recap, we've gone through optimizing images, alt text, and readability. Now, the next thing we've got to do is LSI keywords. Now, what the fuck is LSI? So LSI, I always forget it myself, so don't worry. It's called latent semantic indexing. That's what it means. So basically, in a nutshell, it just means if you've got a primary keyword like laser treatment services near me, what does Google expect to see words that are related to that primary keyword that are coupled with it? Basically, if Google is not an expert in any industry and they've got a big job to do, they're scanning billions of websites, their biggest indicator to understand if a website is playing by the rules or, is related to another website is by basically scanning all the competitors that you have and making sure they've got similar words on their pages, right? So it's basically if you've got laser treatment services near me and Google expects to see things like recovery time or, words like that right on the page, because all of the top ranking websites have those kind of words on the page. Then these are what LSI keywords are, right? And there's a lot of tools out there like Surfer SEO. We use one called Neuron Writer, and there are tools out there to help you basically scan the top ranking pages so that you can find out what other LSI keywords you need to inject into your page, into your content, so that Google can understand that, yes, this is the primary keyword and you've got all this LSI keywords, so therefore you're highly relevant to the keyword because it's comparing you against the other competitors who are top ranking. So the next step, internal linking. This is probably, I don't even know why I left this in the 5th position, but this is so important. This is more important than most of them. This is probably more important than readability and even, in a way, other user experience stuff. So internal linking, basically, if you think about it, and this is another big reason why we have the content map, that topical authority map, is once you've got that whiteboard sitting in front of you, and you've got the 3 commercial pages, each one is going for a particular keyword. You've got the blog posts that you have, and all of those are going for a particular keyword. Now, Google expects for you to guide the bot that's crawling your website on what is the relationship between these pages together. How do I know that I should be crawling these pages and that they're relevant? The way we do that is internal links. We map these like a web, like a spider web, together in every way we can. So we try to get a commercial page to link over to the blog post. And then the blog post to link back over to the commercial page. And then the commercial pages to link between the commercial pages. And then the blog post to link between the blog posts, right? I hope that's not too confusing. But basically, think of it like a spider web. You're mapping all of that topic, all the pages and posts you have, together as much as you can. And so how do you do that? So internal links, it's kind of like if you think in a blog post, there's somewhere, this really amazing opportunity where it mentions something about finding a provider for laser treatment. It's giving really great advice on the things you should look out for. And when you're thinking about laser skin treatment services, you should go about blah, 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 blah. In the blog where it says, when you think about laser skin treatment services, you could literally link or hyperlink the text that says, think about laser skin treatment services, and link it to the commercial the commercial page that's going for that particular keyword. Then you're basically educating the bot on the relationship between these pages and understanding that commercial page is to do with that commercial keyword that you're trying to go for. I hope that wasn't too confusing, but all the signals that you can play, if you can stack the deck in your favor with all these little links, all these little signals, and you're helping educate the algorithm on what these pages are about, then you rank for them way, way higher than you ever expected, like what we saw in the results that I explained to you earlier in this video. In saying that, let's go to the next step. Let's go through headers. So headers are kind of like the headlines on your page. You might have different sections on your page from top to bottom, and each section normally has some sort of heading, like our pricing, or how what makes us different, or whatever. Obviously you wouldn't want it to be that generic, but basically all of these are headers. You want to make sure each of these headers are kind of like that LSI keywords we spoke about. Google is kind of expecting each of these sections to be similar to the top ranking competitors. You might go in order that you've got the hero section at the top, and that's top rated laser skin treatment in Brisbane. And then the next section is problem agitate solution, which is talking about, are you looking for cost-effective laser skin treatment without, whatever the pains are, right? With each of these sections as you're going down the page, the main headlines, you got to try to inject keywords tastefully, in the most tasteful way possible that's not really cringy and cheesy. From there, you've got to basically, once you've got the keywords in those headers and the focus keyword at least in one of the H2 tags and at least in one of the H1 tag, you basically make your headers in a logical hierarchy. And when I said H1 and H2, I'll explain. So each web page, doesn't matter what it is, if it's a blog post or a commercial page, a robot will scan it pure text. It doesn't give a shit of what it looks like. It will scan it pure text in regardless of what page it is. And if you think about it, it needs some sort of logical hierarchy. What's the page about? What's the header 2 about? What's the header 3 about? What's header 4 about? And so basically brush up on your info on what headers are and how to improve that. Now, meta tags. Meta tags is the meta title and meta description. That's what I mean by this. So meta titles are kind of on Google search results. You usually see like a heading. It might say laser skin treatment and then brand name. So that main heading that you see for that website is a meta title. And you can actually change that. Google changes it on you sometimes, but you can actually set the default to whatever it may be. So you have full power on changing that to make it as sexy as possible to increase the click-through rate. And then underneath that, you've got a description, which is, describing the page. But the key to both of these is to make sure you inject the focus keyword in both of them, but also to increase the click-through rate. So it's not enough to just add the focus keyword in your meta title and meta description. You need to also make both of them super sexy in terms of like, how does it stand out from all the other listings on the search engine results page? Do you look like just every other listing? Do you have numbers in there? Do you have like 100 plus 5-star reviews? Blah, 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 blah. Then you got schema. Schema markup is, I don't know if it's becoming outdated eventually, but there's still tools around that. And that's more complicated SEO. It's basically telling the robot what the page is about in another way. I'm not going to go deep into it, but that's another thing to check off. And then another one is external links, mainly for blog posts, to link to reputable like peer-reviewed case studies or peer-reviewed research journals or papers or statistics and things like that. Google kind of expects to see reputable external links on your webpage because that's what all of the like really big publishers do and news places, and Google wants to see better information on the internet. External links is just one of those things that compares to make sure that you're not just all biased information on your blog and you've got real good stuff. So that's, I recommend at least adding 2 external links per blog post. So that's kind of what we did. We went through all of the pages, followed all of these, and then fixed up all the pages. We added new content. We fixed up LSI keywords, internal links, headers, meta tags, readability of the site, the overall user experience, the speed, all that kind of stuff, right? These are non-negotiables. You do it with every single web page on the planet. It never changes. All this stuff, it just takes work. As you can imagine, all this stuff takes work. So we've gone through step 1 and step 2, which is step 1 was creating the topical authority map. Step 2 was fixing everything, fixing all the pages for speed and readability and all that kind of stuff, right? Step 3, and I'm nearly done. So this is the third and final step, but I've got a bonus one afterwards, filling content gaps. So once all things said and done, if you've got everything sorted, you've got topical authority map, you've got all the pages optimized for their own keywords, every page is amazing, internal links, great, you've a perfect world scenario, right? The next step from here is to identify in that example we use for laser skin treatment or whatever, and let's say you had those 2 location-based commercial pages and then 1 standard commercial page like laser skin treatment near me or whatever it is, and then you got 4 blog posts. You're like, this is looking a bit light, Does Google actually see me as an authority in laser skin treatment because I've only got 7 pages? It seems that there are a lot more questions out there on the internet around people have a lot of questions around laser treatment. What's it good for? How is it versus this? What's the price? Who to trust? What questions to ask? There's so many topics out there or things out there to talk about around this particular topic. And so this is where it comes in step 3, which is filling in content gaps, doing research on the topic, understanding what people are asking for on the internet, and why would you even want to do this? How does this actually affect your rankings? Well, Google, as I said before in the LSI, they kind of compare your website with the top ranking ones. And if the top ranking ones for your particular, commercial pages talk a lot more about the topic than you do, they're kind of like thought leaders in the space. So your job is to become a thought leader and an expert in the space in the eyes of Google. Like, Google doesn't give a shit how long you've been a doctor for. They don't know unless you actually prove it by putting that on your website, having heaps of pages talking about this particular topic in different blog posts. Let's say that you've got 40 different blog posts on laser treatment versus a competitor with 3 of them. Who do you think Google is going to see as an expert? Well, obviously the person with way more pages and topics, content covering that particular topic. But that's basically, in a nutshell, the 3 steps that we use to double our clients' traffic in 6 months. And we're still working on it, right? There are ebbs and flows. Even if you find which client we're talking about, you can go to their site and see it's ebbing and flowing because we've been working with them for a lot longer than 6 months. But it just proves the point that, if you play by the rules and, do all the basics in the eyes of Google, great content, everything like that, you're just going to get more sales. The 4th step that I want to speak about, just as a bonus, was link building. Now, link building, we did all that stuff, double traffic without link building. We're doing link building now, but it's a big one. Let's say you did everything, all things being equal, you did everything to the T perfectly in those 3 steps above. But what if a competitor did as well? Then you need links, right? The next step is building quality links to those pages. If you research the top 3 ranking competitors in your local area for laser treatment services, and you find that, out of all of them, they've got like 14 links each. And you go into those 14 links and see how many are actually quality and how many are spam. And then you find that they've only got like 4 quality links each. And then you're like, okay, well, I've got to hire a link building agency. Like, we don't do link building at where I work, but we hire third parties. How can we like build quality links to these pages? I only need about 5. I want 5 quality links to beat all these other competitors who are on the top 3 search results for this keyword. And so that's basically what you do. You figure out, like, for each focus keyword that you have on your topical authority map, what are the top 3 search results for each one? How many links do they have? How many do you need to beat each one? And keep moving on. That's it. Literally just figure out how many links you need, build the links, move on. Now, it's not as simple. When I mean high quality links, I'm literally meaning that you have to spend like $2,000 US a month just to get like 10 quality links. I'm not talking about those cheap fly-by-night, get 1,000 links for $10 sort of thing on Fiverr, because you'll tank your website and you'll ruin everything. Don't do that. Okay, without keeping this podcast too long, let's go through a summary. So what we spoke about was when you're looking at trying to double your organic traffic for your website, look at creating a topical authority map to understand all the pages you have on your website. Doesn't matter if it's a blog post or a landing page or a commercial page. Just link them all down under their respective topics, and then the subtopics that they have for each one, like how is, what is, why is, commercial page or location page, whatever. Next step is fix up all of those. Link them all together like a spider web. Fix up all the pages, readability, headers, meta tags, schema, external links, the content on the page. Third step is to go through filling out your content gaps. What content do you have? What are you missing based on keyword research, right? Simple. Fourth step, once you've done everything to the T, don't skip to link building. Just do it after you've fixed up all the pages. Then you do link building. Figure out how many links you need per page. Hire a third-party agency, do it for several months, bam, rinse and repeat. Simple, not easy, okay? So that's pretty much everything. Good luck, it's a journey, and this is why SEO takes a while. But after that, like these guys, imagine getting passively 14,000 website visitors, and out of those, most people are coming to the commercial pages, and out of a percentage of those, depending on your conversion rate, a lot more bookings than you ever had, and you're not even spending a dime on ads. So it's just a passive way to get new acquisition for your business, new booked appointments. Yes, you put in the hard yards for the first 6 months and you put in a lot of money, but you eventually get your return on investment. You could do the full calculation, how much you need, how long it'll take, what the projected kind of outcome might be if you get an extra X amount of people coming to the site ongoing, and how many might turn into booked appointments, So that's everything for today. I'll see you in the next episode. Cheers.